Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs?
Right! We can't have anyone freak out there, okay? We've got to keep our composure. We've come too far. There's too much to lose. We've got to keep our composure.
What do you want from me?
The fact of the matter is,
I know the human being and fish can coexist peacefully.
now a lot of people are going to be telling you you're crazy, and maybe they're right, but the fact of the matter is.
What is going on, everyone? My name is Marcus Rencher, and you are now tuned into episode 5 of the Fact of the Matter podcast. Like always, I just want to take some time and just thank all of my listeners, whether it's 5, whether it's 50, whether it's 500. I really appreciate all of you. I appreciate anyone that takes the time out of their day to just listen to what I have to say and potentially even looks forward to Fridays when I release these episodes. So really, I appreciate all of you. Now, I had a long week. I cannot wait for it to be Friday tomorrow. Thank God it's Friday. Don't really have too much planned. Potentially doing some clubbing with my girl. Man, I had a long week. I mean, I'm no different than anybody else, but working in New York City and commuting from Jersey, it's no fun. So, but gotta pay the bills somehow, you know. But enough about me. Let's get into what this week's episode is going to be about. We had some really fun headlines this week in sports. I'm sorry. And not only will I be talking about those headlines, but I'll also be talking about. I had a very interesting conversation with some friends of mine earlier in the week, and I was thinking, man, I have to talk about this. These are very social topics that definitely involve just this generation and just society as a whole. And to give my take on that, and to just the fact that I have a platform at this point to be able to speak and have anybody listen to what I have to say and potentially agree or disagree. I mean, I love any of that back and forth and any feedback. But today's episode, I'm going to talk about LaVeon Bell and his desire to be one of the top paid overall football players in the league, and whether I believe he deserves it or not. I have to talk about Kyrie Irving. Have to. I mean, there's always a top NBA headline. There's always something. There's always a top NBA headline, and whether it's Kyrie Irving or Carmelo Anthony or LeVar Ball, LaMelo Ball, Lonzo Ball, any of the Ball family, there's always a top NBA topic that I have to talk about, and I have to talk about Kyrie and LeBron. I just have to. And I mean, I could see that both of those topics right there lasting for the majority of this episode, but to round things off, I'm definitely going to end by talking about the conversation I had with a few of my friends. I won't name names just yet. Potentially, as I get heated in that conversation, I'll say who I was actually speaking with, and shout them out a little bit, give them a little plug. And but yeah, if you want to really know what that conversation was about, let me just say it's juicy, it's controversial, and in the world we live in today, being so PC, to have a conversation like that nowadays, and to be afraid of offending somebody or not, or just saying something what you believe in nowadays is it's not something that many people like to do. So if you're interested in hearing what I have to say with that, and whatever that conversation was about, that just means you have to stick it out and you got to listen to the whole episode. So I mean, hey man, we got to get this started because the fact of the matter waits for no one. I don't know. I was just trying to be clever there, but I'll work on that, guys. I'll work on it. But hey, let's get started, guys. So I'm gonna start off today's episode talking about LaVeon Bell because LaVeon Bell, if many people did not know, went to my favorite college sports team of all time. In any category, in any sport. My favorite college is Michigan State, the Michigan State Spartans. I could sing their freaking band song, the school song. I mean, I can do it. I won't, but I can. That's how much I love that school. Don't even ask me why I love that school so much and why. I've just known that I've always followed them since I really started understanding college sports, because I was just such an NBA head. Wasn't even watching football or baseball or anything else. I was just an NBA through and through, because that's just what my dad watched. And then I just fell in love with college basketball. And from there, I think I bought, or I didn't buy. You know what? It was when GameFly was hot at the time. If you remember GameFly, it's like Netflix for video games. I rented this college football video game. I forgot which one it was, and then boom, just became hooked and became a huge college football fan. And to this day, I still am. And I mean, long story short, LaVeon Bell was my favorite to this day. My favorite Michigan State Spartan of all time. It saddened me when I knew that he was going into the league, but the fact that he got drafted by one of the top organizations in the NFL and the Pittsburgh Steelers, I mean, of course, it wouldn't be my favorite team. I can't have my favorite college player go from my favorite college team to my favorite NFL team. It's just the dice doesn't roll like that. But the fact that he went to Pittsburgh Steelers, I mean, I wasn't mad. And LaVeon Bell tore it up his rookie season, and he definitely deserved all of the early praise that he was getting. And people forget that Le'Veon Bell is just entering his 5th season in the NFL. Now, shelf life for an NFL running back definitely is very short. I mean, if they can play past 28, 29, like, they're seen as somebody that's pretty solid, that's pretty legit, and that's probably gonna go into the Hall of Fame, because if they're playing as a starting running back for a pro football team past 28, 29 into the 30s, then they're solid, they're legit. I mean, AP is one of those people right there. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He doesn't have a ring, probably won't get one playing with New Orleans. You never know. The NFL is so crazy, but AP is one of those cases. But Le'Veon Bell's only 25 years old, and last year he didn't play the first 4 games of the season, and still was top 10 in rushing yards. I think he was top 5 in rushing yards, and has 7 touchdowns. I think he averaged about 5 yards per carry. Just ridiculous. Le'Veon Bell was a stat sheet stuffer all season long, and it just was unfortunate that he apparently he was hurt. I don't know the whole story. I really don't, but apparently he was hurt during the playoffs. But I think that all the praise that he was getting from that point forward, from the start of his career to that point, was well deserved. Now, he's here in the off season, clamoring for pay. He will be a top paid running back in the NFL. He'll be one of the top running backs. He'll be one of the top paid running backs. I'm sorry, I'm getting texts on my phone. I got to turn this thing over because I can't keep looking. He'd be one of the top paid running backs in the NFL, hands down, easily. But what he's saying is that he needs to be one of the top paid running backs and receivers in the NFL. Now, that's never happened before. Nobody gets paid for 2 positions, really. I mean, maybe on the defensive end, they'll do that because based off of performance, interceptions, and tackles, and other statistics like that. But on the offensive side of the ball, to have a player get paid for 2 different key spotlighted offensive positions, it's never happened before. Now, I had to really look up Le'Veon Bell's stats since he's been in the league. He has ridiculous receiving numbers for a running back. Ridiculous. In 2014, where he played every single game, he had damn near 900 yards receiving. There are a lot of starting top receivers in the league that don't have 900 yards receiving. He has 5 touchdowns in total as a receiver, but his average yards per catch and his yards per game, I mean, his career average yards per game is almost 50, but last year he actually averaged 50. But what's remarkable is that he's the second highest. He has the second most yards per game on the Steelers, behind, of course, Antonio Brown. I mean, that just is a testament to the offense that the Steelers play. Ben doesn't like to stay in the pocket too long, so he gets a lot of dump off and over the top throws to LaVeon Bell, who's a great receiver just in general. There's a lot of running backs in the league that just can't catch the ball like that, especially in traffic in the middle of the field. Like they throw him the ball in the middle of the field, jumping passes in the middle of the field, and LaVeon, he takes it to the house. I mean, I think that, and maybe I'm biased, but I think that he deserves to be paid a little bit more than a top running back in the league. I really do. I mean, his stats are to prove it. I mean, if he can stay on the field, that's the major thing. And that's probably why the Steelers are hesitant to pay him what he believes he deserves. And I think what the fans believe he deserves, his durability. I mean, the season before last, he only played 6 games. He hurt his knee, if I remember correctly. But the 2 seasons before that, he played the majority of the games. I mean, the season before, in 2014, he played all the games. In 2013, he only played 13 games. Last year, he played 12 due to suspension. So, I mean, listen, Le'Veon Bell is a real deal. He deserves to be paid what I believe is a top running back and receiver pay. Maybe not number one. Like, I just watched this documentary on it wasn't even a doc. It was one of those uninterrupted, short little video clips, and he was getting interviewed about how much football means to him, and it's a dope interview. Odell Beckham Jr. He's on the Giants, and he is the number 1 receiver in the league, in my opinion. He is dynamic, he's unstoppable, and he does whatever he wants on the field, and he's immature, but he's a kid. I mean, he's still young, so imagine this season with a lot to prove, and trying to prove to the Giants that he deserves the money that he's asking for. I mean, football players in general, top receivers, can be such a it can be controversial, that conversation, because a lot of people believe that top NFL players aren't being paid what they deserve, especially seeing how much other sports, primarily the NBA, how much these guys are getting paid for not even being the number 1, 2, 3, or third option on their team. I mean, I will never be able to forget that just last season, the start of last season, Mike Conley was the number 1, was the highest paid player in the NBA. No disrespect to dude. I mean, a little bit, because he played for Ohio State, Michigan State fan, blah, blah, blah. But Mike Conley is not the highest paid player in the NBA. He's just not. But he can be, because that's just how the NBA is. That's just how the business of the NBA has played out currently. The new CBA and TV contract, and the fact that these organizations are getting so much money and they can just throw it in. And the fact that the new CBA made it so that they want their top players to stay on the team. They don't want another LeBron situation where a lower market team that hit the jackpot with a top player can get that top player gets lured by a major market like the Knicks, Bulls, like how I said the Knicks first, Knicks, Bulls, Lakers, et cetera, and they can get lured away because they can offer money, but the fact that they're a top franchise, but it's the money that the team that they're already on is capable of paying them that makes them stay. So they can pay them whatever they want. But also it's the money in general that can even lure role players away from making a lower market team better. I mean, it's just a never-ending cycle, and the NBA just got it right. And that lockout was very important. I think it was in 2012. The lockout for the NBA in 2012, I mean, it was important because this is where we're at right now. I mean, there's a lot of loaded teams, and the Golden State Warriors, they just did everything right. They just did everything right. They drafted well, and they put themselves in position to be able to spend big bucks, and they landed KD. I mean, it is what it is at this point. But, I mean, my point is that NBA players are making buku money. I mean, you don't really say that unless it's a lot of money. And NBA players are making a lot of money. A lot of money. And the fact that, I mean, you can sign a. See, now this is where I'm kind of torn. Because an NFL player, you can't sign them to a 10-year contract. You can't sign them to a 5-year contract. You can't really do that because they get hurt, they tear the ACL in the third game of that first season, and you still got to pay them. I mean, unless they can work something out. I don't know. I'm not a financial advisor, and I'm damn sure not one for the NFL and how huge that business is. But I mean, I still believe, regardless of all that, even if they got to sign a 2-3 year contract and stay on to stay on the team, they got to get paid the money they deserve. Now, Tom Brady and all these other quarterbacks, they can get the big money. Like, what did Derek Carr just get? He's the highest paid player in the NFL right now. I think he's getting 120 mil, 150 mil, one of those, 120, 150. Now, that's nothing compared to, I mean, Steph Curry just signed a $200 and something million contract. James Harden just signed a similar deal. Like, these guys are about to get paid, and that's not on top of the sneaker contracts and other things that they have, are other endorsements that they already have. Now, Tom Brady's over there with Under Armour, and he's making good money. Of course, I mean, it's Tom freaking Brady. He's the GOAT, literally the greatest of all time. Let me pause real quick while I'm talking about Tom Brady to mention to all my Patriots fans out there. All my Patriots fans out there everywhere who's listening to me. He lost to the Giants twice. He actually lost to the Giants undefeated completely going up into the Super Bowl. And he lost to Eli Manning in the New York Football Giants. All right, now let's go back. All right, so Tom Brady, one of the highest paid players. Derek Carr just became one of the highest paid players. I actually believe that he deserves that. He is, I mean, you got to respect the dude. He is Tim Tebow times 100 as far as football skill, but he just a God-fearing, loving Christian man that, like, if you follow him on Instagram, like, if you don't like Derek Carr, there's something wrong with you. He's got to be one of the nicest individuals. I don't know him as a person. He could be absolutely fake. He could be OJ for all I know. God forbid. That's a touchy subject. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. But, I mean, hey, he got out of prison. Whatever. I'm not even going to touch that. So let's continue. So, I mean, Derek Carr is the highest paid player in the NFL right now. And the fact that, yeah, he's extremely important. But Derek Carr can be the best quarterback in the league. The best quarterback in the league. But if you don't have anybody to throw it to or hand the ball off to, what's he getting paid all that money for? Because they're going to go 1-15. And obviously they didn't go 1-15. But the great example of that is Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck probably, at this point in his career, if he had some weapons, it's hard to say that that Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers, even Aaron Rodgers isn't the best quarterback in the league, but I like Andrew Luck so much that I think he's a top 3 quarterback in the league just based on skill and talent alone. If he had some weapons in the offensive line and just consistent coaching, I mean, Andrew Luck could be a real problem. I mean, the pedigree just of the Colts, and to have him following up Peyton Manning, I mean, he's a perfect follow-up. They just haven't been able to put anything around him. But I believe that one day he will also be one of the highest paid players in the league because he's still young too. I mean, he just got drafted, 3-4 seasons ago? But my point is with wide receivers and running backs, like, these guys are the top guys. The AJ Greens, the Odell Beckham Jr.'s, obviously, Julio Jones, I'm drawing blanks on running backs right now just because I'm heated right now, guys. I'm heated. I mean, I'm starting to as you hear the plane in the background. Damn, this mic is so good that you can hear the plane in the background. I'm gonna edit that out, don't worry. But these top receivers and these top running backs in the league, they're not getting the money that they deserve based on the talent and the production they put on the field. And then just sacrificing their bodies. Quarterbacks sacrifice their body. You can't say any football player doesn't sacrifice their body. But not the same way a receiver does, jumping in the air in the middle of the field and they can get their legs blasted out from underneath them and never walk again. Or a running back running full speed, head down, eyes closed, boom, jam into the middle of the hole, and they can be paralyzed for life. I mean, be concussed and end up with all these other crazy brain damage. For that simple fact alone, these guys need to be paid more money. And from now, I'm just going to end right there because, no, you know what? I'm not done. I'm not done. So they don't get off that easy, NFL. The reason why I believe that people say that they don't deserve more money than they're getting is because they only play one side of the ball. Receivers and running backs only play offense. Cornerbacks and D linemen and linebackers only play defense. I mean, they're getting paid for the half of the game that they play. That makes sense. It does. It honestly does. It's for that simple fact that you can't say a football player is one of the best athletes or sports athletes of all time because they get to rest for half the game. I mean, LeBron and Jordan and all these other guys. I'm so biased with the NBA. I always talk about the NBA, but these guys, like, they play heavy minutes the entire game, and I mean, and they're carrying. I mean, a wide receiver can't carry a team. He just can't. I mean, he can carry the offense, but if the defense is whacked, then they're going to get tore up all game, and it's going to be a 70-70 game. I mean, you know? So now I'm going to end with that, saying that I'm torn. I can't pick a side. I really can't. I can't choose a side on how much money I think the NFL players deserve compared to NBA players or baseball players. Don't get me started with baseball players. And that's just because I didn't play and I don't have the same level of respect for the game as I do the other sports. It's annoying how much they get hurt, but maybe I don't understand. Maybe I got to interview a legitimate baseball enthusiast and have him explain to me the ins and outs and the workout regimen and routine for a baseball player. But NFL players, they actually legitimately sacrifice their body, their families, their livelihood for the game of football, and they knew what they were getting themselves into. But I think they need to be paid properly. But as much as an NBA player, maybe not. I'm torn. The offense defense thing really really gets me because they really do only play one side of the ball, and it's tough. So with that, I'm making a lot of sound effects today, but with that, I mean, I gotta say I'm neutral. I'm down the middle, and I'm gonna end with that, and that's it. No more NFL talk for this episode. I mean, I could talk about it forever because we didn't really even talk about the Giants. Their camp started yesterday, but man, go Giants, man. They got a great team. I really think that they can win the NFC East, and I think they're gonna beat the Cowboys again. They're gonna run roughshod. Oh man, I don't want to jinx them. Let me knock on wood real quick. There's no wood around me. Actually, there is. You guys are gonna hear it real quick, so I gotta do it. But yeah, I mean, go Giants, man. Die hard. Fantasy football's next week. Let's do this. All right. Now, I wasn't able to think of a clever and witty segue to get into this, but with all of the talk about Kyrie Irving and LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers and the state of the NBA and all these free agent signings and everyone trying to compete with the Golden State Warriors, I mean, we're in a fun time in the NBA for sure. This is a fun time, but it is definitely very stressful. It's a very stressful time, and I can only imagine what it's like for somebody like Kyrie, who to me I've been saying this now for about 3 seasons. Anyone can vouch for me. Kyrie is the closest thing to Kobe we're going to have in the league as far as mentality and just that ferocity on the court that we'll see. Now, Russell Westbrook, to me, you can't compare him to Kobe because he's Russell Westbrook. I don't think he's like Kobe. I think Russell Westbrook is going to be like, oh, this dude's like Russell Westbrook. Not like, oh, this dude, Russell Westbrook is like Kobe. I think Kobe played with like a more poise. He had a veracity, but he had more poise, and he had more of a psychological game and warfare to him where he knew he was the best and he showed it based off of what he was doing, and he had a smack talk. Russell Westbrook is just angry. He plays angry. He attacks the rim angry, and he also has huge chip on his shoulder where he's just trying to prove the whole world wrong. So I refuse to compare Russell Westbrook to Kobe, even though Kobe himself said it. But I mean, maybe we're all saying this because we haven't seen Kyrie do his thing right now in the current state of where he's at in his career as far as skill level. And I think that it's not a terrible thing for him to desire to play by himself and be the guy and be the alpha on some other team. Kyrie, to me, is an alpha in general. LeBron is no alpha. He's just not. I think when D Wade was in the prime of his career, he was an alpha. But LeBron, to me, is just somebody that doesn't care whether he's an alpha or not. So me calling him an alpha and saying he's not an alpha doesn't necessarily that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think that he's figured out a way to play and make his teammates better while also still controlling and being the most dominant player on the court without having that clear alpha mentality that Kobe had, that Shaq had, that Jordan had, that Pippen had, that Barkley had. Those guys are alphas. They want everyone to know that they're the alpha. They want LeBron towards the end of his career now. He's like, oh, that's because I'm the best player ever, the best player in the world. I remember he said that a couple years ago in the NBA Finals. Like, too little, too late, man. Like, you're a very nice and humble guy. I mean, I think behind closed doors, LeBron's not really as nice. I think he's probably an asshole. I really do. But in front of the camera, he's a nice guy. He's a great father. He's a great role model. And I think that's all that matters. And that isn't the qualities of an alpha in the NBA as far as history goes. Kobe wasn't a nice guy in the media. He just wasn't. Jordan wasn't a nice guy. Barkley wasn't a nice guy. These people, they don't care about anything but wins. They want wins, and that's it. And they're gonna do whatever they can to their teammates, to whoever, to get those wins. And it's just a whole different mindset. Now LeBron, I'm not gonna take away from LeBron's skill and his mindset because dude's made it to the finals 7 freaking years in a row. No one's done that. No one. Besides probably people in the olden days with Bill Russell and all that. But LeBron, he's got his own mindset. But I think that Kyrie is tired of playing second fiddle. And I think it's probably tough playing with LeBron because he's consistently going to be in the shadow. And not only that, LeBron's not going to be on the Cavaliers after next season. He's just not. LeBron is leaving Cleveland. They're in a downward spiral. They got rid of their GM, who LeBron clearly didn't want him to leave. A lot of these players in the last year of their contract or towards it, going into the lower peak of their career, like the lower end of their career, and LeBron knows he's not going to beat the team that's going to the finals for the next 5 years in the West, regardless of what anybody in the West does. Again, as I said in episode 1, I'll say in episode 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, etc. Warriors in 5. They're going to win in 5 next year. They just are in the NBA Finals. So you heard it here first. But anyway, LeBron knows that the Cavs, how they're currently constructed and how they will be based off of, talk and whatever the team ends up deciding to do, maybe getting rid of Kevin Love in the trade deadline and blah, blah, blah. He knows that they're not going to beat the Warriors. He's got to team up. He got a superpower beatdown team up with somebody. And LeBron's at the point of his career right now. He's already like a mogul. He's already like a Pac and Biggie to me as far as the NBA is concerned, based off of just what his production, his numbers, and what he means to a team, and being the legitimate most valuable player in the NBA. Most valuable, the word valuable. So LeBron doesn't have anything to prove in that regard. So he wants to win. So he's going to leave Cleveland. Kyrie knows that. Kyrie damn sure knows that. And I don't think Kyrie wanted to play with LeBron from the jump. Kyrie signed that contract, his contract extension after his rookie deal. He signed that before LeBron even was there was even talk about LeBron coming back to Cleveland. Kyrie was all set to be the guy and have the Cavaliers build around him the way that the Cavaliers tried to build around LeBron. And I think Kyrie, of course, who's not going to be happy to be able to play with LeBron, got a ring out of it. legitimately carried the Cavs last year. I mean, LeBron did his thing, but if Kyrie wasn't on that team, they wouldn't have won. The same way they lost in 2015, even though LeBron played his ass off. So, I mean, Kyrie believes that he's capable of having a team built around him, for him, the way that he originally envisioned being a number one pick. I mean, you're a number one pick for a reason. I mean, you want to team up, you want to win, you want rings, but there's also a bravado and an ego there that I think is warranted. And I think that it's welcomed as far as being an NBA player. Now, did it go so well for Kobe when his ego forced Shaq out, or whatever the story was that led to that? No, but he learned from that and he grew. And throughout the prime of his career, he dominated the NBA, but he eventually was able to win a couple championships without Shaq. Depending on where Kyrie decides to go, I mean, I think the same thing could happen. But I think that this is a divorce that between Kyrie and LeBron that people saw coming, just because of how it's probably going to turn out next summer when LeBron ends up leaving. So why not have it start right now? Kyrie doesn't mind being considered one of the bad guys in this, even though I think that more people are considering LeBron the bad guy for picking and choosing when he wants to be involved in the organization, in the decision making. So, I mean, this rift between the two of them and Kyrie unfollowing LeBron on social media, I had to see it for myself because I couldn't believe it. And that's a big thing nowadays. You unfollow somebody or you block somebody, like that's a fight. That's a fight on somebody's block. So I'm sure LeBron was devastated, as they said in the media, and whoever leaked it or whatever. I mean, I don't know. I think the Cavs organization leaked it to see if maybe, I don't know, but I don't see why they would do that. But all I know is that Kyrie's not happy. I was just reading today that Kyrie hasn't answered any of the Cavs phone calls. And I also read today, actually I listened today on First Take, ESPN First Take, that Kyrie really wants to play for the New York Knickerbockers. Let's go. Kyrie wants to come home. I'm such a social media head because I follow him on, I think it's Instagram. On Instagram, he posted himself on a plane coming back from wherever he was at, singing the I'm Coming Home song. The I'm coming home. Yeah, that song. I sound pretty good, man. I sound pretty good. No, all right, whatever. But yeah, he sang that. He's from New Jersey. I mean, if Kyrie can come, I don't even want to just have my hopes up. I was telling my boy today, the feeling of Kyrie potentially coming to the Knicks is how I felt. Like that anxiety of when Melo was talking about wanting to come to the Knicks, the only team he wants to play for is the Knicks. Like that anxiety, like literally took over me for like a month. I was going nuts everywhere. I couldn't even take it. And in the summer, right before that, when LeBron went to Miami, like it was just crazy. Everything was just so crazy, and I feel like we're somewhat in that time period with this next generation of stars, with Jimmy Butler leaving, Paul George going somewhere else. I mean, we got Boogie and AD in New Orleans. Like these top players leaving their teams that they've been on to go play for somebody else. I mean, it's a testament to just where we are in the NBA and just the competition level, just trying to match up with Golden State. And real quick segue, Derrick Rose going to Cleveland. I mean, I don't know if they consider him a starting point guard. I know he still considers himself a starting point guard. He can't stay in the court. Unfortunately, he's Penny Hardaway 2.0, Grant Hill 2.0. It really sucks. He won an MVP. He could potentially be the only MVP in history to not make it to the Hall of Fame. I mean, but I'd love to see him do some work in the NBA Finals too. So, I mean, I'm happy for him. Sucks they couldn't make it work over here in New York. I mean, that's Phil's fault, and I can say a whole number of expletives for my feelings about Phil Jackson at this point. I trusted him. I tried to believe in him, but he ruined what should have been a playoff team last year with that daggone triangle. But I mean, at the end of the day, good for Derrick Rose. Hopefully they can do something over there in Cleveland. They'll probably end up going to the finals again because they got LeBron James on their team, and there's nobody in the East that can stack up to the Cavs when it comes playoff time. I mean, that's just the fact of the matter. Boom, see what I did there? It is. So, I mean, I don't even want to try to jinx it, man. Like, in all honesty, like, I want to talk about LeBron, Kyrie, and KP's potential team up and how much it can work so bad. I really do. I want to talk about it so bad, but I want to just leave it floating in the air, and I want to leave the rumors, and I want the NBA fan base and the Knicks fans and just like the world to just will this to happen. I mean, the media wills things. They've willed things to happen in the past. They force things. They talk about it so damn much, and that's a funny segue because that's kind of what I'm going to be talking about next. But the media wills things to happen so much. Damn it, will Kyrie to the Knicks. Let's get Kyrie to the Knicks. Let's put some balance to the force. If you follow me on Twitter, that's #_ Marcus _ the word #_ Marcus _ If you follow me on Twitter, I said it today. If the Knicks could somehow finagle a trade to get Kyrie while also getting rid of Melo and getting some pieces for that and just building around these two young 20-something-year-olds, and come on, man. I don't even care about Frank anymore. Dude didn't play one single game in the summer league. I don't care about him no more. It's facts. I just don't. So, man, if the Knicks can, man, I'm getting, my heart's pounding right now just thinking about it. And it's because of that I've got to stop talking about this because I don't want to jinx it. I want Kyrie Irving to play for the New York Knicks, and that's all I'm going to say. And that's it. That's it. Now, it's funny, just a second ago, I was talking about the media willing things to happen and media having influence. Now, I'm still torn whether I want to name names. I won't, though. I had a conversation earlier this week. Very, very funny, passionate conversation with some very smart individuals that I know, intellectual individuals. 3 of them, in fact, and they all believe strongly in what they believe in, and they'll take it to their grave, whatever they believe, and you can't sway them. And I love people that can have debates like that without it turning into anything. You know, you just have a debate and talk about something and talk about what you believe in without it getting crazy. And you can just and just to hear other people's takes on things. Now, where one of the things ended. No, I'm not even say where it ended. Why am I going to the end? I can't really tell you where the conversation began because I honestly don't even want to touch that. But where the conversation was towards the middle was me and another one of my friends talking about the media's influence on men and women, especially compared to the 90s and 80s. Now, some people will say, well, that's just evolution. That's going evolution with the times. I mean, things happen. There are changes in mindsets. I agree with that. I will never disagree with that. But anyone that says that the media doesn't influence people's minds based off of what is pushed consistently on television or on the internet is crazy to me. Now, let me preface this by saying that this is my opinion. If you don't agree with my opinion, then that's awesome. I want to go back and forth, and if you want to at me on Twitter and have a conversation, at me, bro. So, I mean, we can have a conversation about this because I'm going to stick to what I believe in. Now, I think Love and Hip Hop was on television, and it was from there where me and one of my friends were saying, man, I can't believe how they portray black people and this, that, or whatever. And not even to get into a black and white thing. My whole thing was how women are pushed on in the media today, and what the media wants men to consider a beautiful woman, and what women are supposed to want to desire to be, compared to how it was on television in the 90s. Now, a beautiful woman, what's considered, quote unquote, considered a beautiful woman in the 90s, somebody trim, slim, Jada Pinkett. I mean, damn, I'm not even gonna try to name all of them. Jada Pinkett was the first person that came to mind, but Nia Long, all like they were trim. They didn't have the biggest breasts, they didn't have the biggest butt, but they were just beautiful. Their faces down. They looked at their face and they went down. and everything that came with it they wanted because she was beautiful and her sex appeal, her eyes and the way she talked and how she carried herself. That was a beautiful woman. Nowadays, people are trying to push individuals like Cardi B or Kim Kardashian, Nicki Minaj, all these people that are plastic, that were created in a laboratory, in my opinion. They got their created breasts and created bodies. They never went to the gym. They only started going to the gym once the doctor molded them to what they want. All power to you. If that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. But my point is that it influences both men and women. Young girls from the ages who are in the most influential and vulnerable times of their lives, from the ages of 14 to 21. They see that. They see their coworkers, their fellow students, and of the opposite sex looking at them saying, dang, that looks good. And maybe looking at themselves in the mirror saying, man, why can't I get Tommy to look at me like that? Why? Because I don't have a fake butt. I don't have fake breasts. And I don't have a fake constructed body. And men they have extremely ridiculous standards and expectations of what women are supposed to be and look like. I saw a picture today of some woman, some stripper, with a stripper body, and the caption said wifey material. Now people confuse somebody wanting somebody to be their wife to somebody they just want to have sex with just based off of what they look like. And people, I mean, that's got to be said more. I mean, people's expectations on women make the man end up cheating on women, looking for the next best thing based off of what they see, and make the woman feel like crap about themselves, potentially want to get the body done, and then they can't keep a man either because they know that they can manipulate men based off what they want. And who created this? In my opinion, the media. The media went from a woman looking like Kim Kardashian, Nicki Minaj, from being taboo in the 90s. And when I say taboo, I mean those women were considered strippers. They were considered somebody that, I mean, why do you want to look like that? I mean, why you got a big butt for? I mean, it was women wanted to look like Jennifer Aniston, and wanted to look like all these other trim women, trying to fit in size 1, 2, and 3s. And now women are out here really striving to fit into 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, so they can have a big butt so that they can shake it in front. I don't know. Now, I can't go into the mind of a woman, so this is my opinion again. I mean, my girlfriend hates when I talk about this because she was like, how do you know what a woman thinks? And she's right. I don't know, but I'm going by what I see, and what I see as a shift in because of what's portrayed and what's shown as desirable. And I mean, the media doesn't do just that when it comes to women. I mean, they make it so that with men, they need money in order to land these women. Like the women that are out there saying, "Oh, I don't F for free. I don't do this, blah blah blah." And I gotta these stripper women, they need men to throw bands at them and this, that, whatever. So men's priorities are all mixed up, and it's just, and they think that in order to land these kind of women, they can't have a regular job because it takes time to go to college and do the things necessary to land an upstanding woman, because they don't portray upstanding women as the top women to want. They just don't. The top women are the ones that sell tickets, that sell things, that look a certain way. And they're always going to push those women, the very voluptuous women. That's just what they're going to do. In order to land those women, you have to be at a certain level. You have to make a certain amount of money. And the time it takes to make the money, I mean, those women probably won't want you because maybe you're college educated and that's not the same lane that you want to be in, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's unfortunate because it affects relationships at the end of the day. Relationships don't last because, once again, maybe the man with the money lands the girl with the body, and they just get bored with each other because they know that their body is capable of landing any other man that they want, and he knows his money is capable of landing any other woman that she wants. And unless they've been with each other for a long time, for many, many years, but prior to the changes, I mean, that's why you see a lot of divorce. You see a lot of divorce in the NFL and the NBA, and on rappers and all these strippers and everybody just getting knocked up and claiming that, oh, so-and-so rapper got me pregnant. And that's shown everywhere because the internet and television are the most influential things in the world. And people see that and they think that that's what it takes to make it. And the reason, and I have experience with this, unfortunately, because my ex-girlfriend was her mentality. If she didn't have a body to be able to, she won't be able to get men. And I mean, as you can imagine, that really was hell for me. And I'm not even going to touch on that any further. But my point is that the media is capable of implanting ideas to make you change what you originally thought was one thing, to make it good, to change something that's from bad to good or from good to bad. I mean, not even from good to bad. I mean, it could be something like, yeah, we had Obama as our president. And in the 80s, who would have ever thought, you know how many black people ran for president and were never even taken seriously because the media didn't portray them as a legitimate candidate? Because it's the media. People are reading newspapers and doing all this other stuff. But if they're shown on TV and getting consistent face time, I mean, damn it, Donald Trump got the most face time, and dude's president right now. Obama got the most face time, and the reason why it became something that was considered doable, in my opinion, is because prior to that, shown on television, the top rated and the show with the top views, one of them at the time, I mean, the only example I can think of is 24, with Kiefer Sutherland. The president on that show was black. I mean, they implant things to make it seem like it's a possibility. I can see, the president is black in that show. Whoa, I mean, I could see that. Oh, the president is a woman in this show. Other shows where, in Game of Thrones, for crying out loud, I mean, other shows where the woman is the leader of a whole men's fleet. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. And none of these things am I saying it's bad. My point is that the media has an influence, and there are people that don't believe that. And I believe that the media can do that even today. I mean, it's generational, of course, and it's different eras in time. But I believe that during both of our parents' time, you would never see a homosexual man or woman being a lead character of a television show. It just would never happen. But because slowly but surely the media portrayed different instances where, especially in this PC world where you can't have your own thought, you can't have your own anything, and don't ever say anything bad about anybody that's gay. You can't do it. And because of that, it pushed, okay, well, we can't say anything bad about anyone that's gay, so we're going to do whatever we can to put them on television. No one's going to say anything bad about it. We're going to keep doing this until, boom, it's accepted to want to do that. Again, it's not a bad thing. I'm not saying it's not a bad thing because everyone has their own beliefs. But my point is that different culture shock events, they use different things that go against the cultural norm, what's considered the cultural norm, to sell. So if everything's going the same way, there's old white man in office. There's an old white man leading this whatever on a television show. There's just one way to do everything. What's the next thing that they can do that's different, that sells? Let's make a woman in charge. Let's make a black man the leader of the office. Let's make a gay man the lead character, and let's make it funny. Let's not make the gay man be somebody that just kind of says one-liners and everyone's like, oh, and it kind of makes fun of him and still has some homosexual slurs. Or same way they did with black people. I mean, the black man went from just a comedic character, no legitimate serious roles, to someone that can potentially win Oscars and be taken seriously, based off of, people given a chance. But regardless of talent and skill, I mean, certain people get held back regardless because it's not a social norm. It's not a cultural norm or societies considers normal. Excuse me. So to have the media be basically in control, what's the next thing that's cool, the next thing that they believe people will want. I mean, this topic can go on forever, and it's what you believe, but what I believe is that they control the media. They, quote, the all caps, they control what is the new norm based off of something that's a shock to your psyche, something that you didn't think that you would ever see, but consistently just jamming it down your throat and jamming it onto your televisions in every channel and every aspect until it's something that is accepted and something that's the new norm. I mean, yeah, everyone's been talking about guns forever and all this other stuff, but it's only these past few years that we've had the capabilities of seeing the mistreatment of guns by cops and saying, okay, you have to take guns off the streets. You got to do something because guns. You can't have anything with guns. And I mean, there's so many different examples. I can legitimately spend a whole episode talking about this, and I could, and I probably will. And I want to get a guest in, and we will talk about this, and we'll bounce just our thoughts and our ideals back off of each other. But I mean, as much as I love to just continue to talk about this, I'm gonna end with this one thing. And I'm going to repeat myself. And you can agree with me. You don't have to agree with me. And I would love to be able to just, if whoever made it this far into the episode, I mean, again, thank you. You're the best. Love you so much. I believe the media is in direct control of what's considered the new norm. I really do. And I think based off of all the facts that I said, I mean, the fact of the matter is that if it wasn't for the media making it so that Kim Kardashian could be the top person based off her looks, and then she wouldn't be. She just wouldn't, because she's got no skills or talents, and that's just a fact. So you can agree with me, you can disagree with me, but maybe we can have a conversation on Twitter. You can comment on my YouTube. You comment on the YouTube video. I mean, I love to have a back and forth with every and anyone about this topic, because it is so controversial, and controversy sells, man. Well, I mean, it just does. I mean, everything gets split down the middle, and that's what sells. So, I mean, hey, I can bash the media, but I'm potentially looking to be a part of the media. So, I mean, keep your friends close and your enemies closer, right? So, I mean, with that, man, I just want to thank everyone for listening to episode 5. And I mean, I think this was a great episode. Felt like it flew by, but time flies when you're having fun, right? So with that, man, I gotta think of like a witty thing to end with. I will. Trust me, next episode I'm gonna have some dope. I'm gonna have some real dope. But with that, because I don't have anything else, all I'm gonna say is go Knicks. See you later, guys.